You're listening to Real Sisters Talk. Find out more about our show and listen to previous episodes at realsisterstalk.com.
You say, honey, sweet baby, you got it down like a bad girl in the floor. You say, honey, lovely lady, oh, you make it sound like a
Hello and welcome to Real Sisters. I'm your host, Linda, and I'm here in Spokane on a beautiful spring day with a very special guest, Tess Henley. Tess was chosen as one of IMR Magazine's Best Women of Indie Music 2012. She has several albums and a new one she's working on now with Dice Raw. She's multi-talented, passionate old soul and R&B style. She's a singer-songwriter, and she hails from my sister city, a city that's quickly becoming the epicenter of soul, Seattle, Washington. Tess, welcome to the show, and thanks for stopping by today.
Thanks for having me. Spokane is kind of near and dear to my heart, too. So,
do you have any family or friends over here?
Yeah, my dad's side is from Spokane.
Oh, they are? Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was born in Tacoma, so it's kind of like we kind of switched sides of the state.
Yeah.
But I go over to Seattle a lot. Do you come over here a lot?
I haven't been in a while. I used to go to the Hoop Fest tournament over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a basketball player?
Yeah, I play for fun now, but it was definitely a big part of my life growing up.
Now, a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we had another soul singer from Seattle on, Alan Stone. Mm-hmm. Have you ever worked with Alan?
I've played a couple shows with Alan, and he sang on a song that we did, or a project we did for my cousin Carly. And so, and we've known Alan for a while now. So yeah, Alan's great.
Well, he's from over here.
Yeah.
Actually, even a smaller town than Spokane. He's up north, I think, from like Colville or somewhere
yeah.
Really small.
Chewelah?
Yeah, you're right, Chewelah. Yeah, we came over, he was over in Spokane performing at the Knitting Factory, so we went and saw him in person, did his interview, and then I think the whole entire town of Chewelah came down to support him at the Knitting Factory that night. But
I'm sure.
You mentioned a cousin that also sings, because I know you had a brother who sings, or have a brother who sings, and your mom apparently sings in a band as well.
Mm-hmm. My cousin Carly, she passed away 2 years ago, but she was a singer-songwriter, and when she passed away, we ended up taking all of her songs that she had finished or not finished and ended up recording all of them in the studio and putting together her album. And then we had the release show, and Alan was there and a bunch of Seattle artists, kind of a coming together of a lot of different artists, which was really cool.
Wow. I had no idea about any of that. See, that's the thing. When you start these interviews, you don't know where they're going to go. So Carly was your cousin. She passed away 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the music that you recorded was music she had written, and then other people sang the songs at the
benefit? She had recorded like an EP, and then she had a bunch of songs. Maybe she did demos in the studio or maybe she just had like her Mac recordings or like GarageBand recordings of them, just her guitar and her vocal in her room or something. And then she had a bunch of songs just written out lyrics. So we took the songs that we had a vocal for her.
Fresh smell of earth falling from the sky. Little drops of heaven that come from angel's eyes. The sweetness brings me to my knees. Feel it on my skin and I am free.
And we kind of rebuilt some of them. We kind of tweaked some of the ones she already had finished, or remixed them. And then we asked, our artist friends like Alan, Natalie Klausner is another one. She's from Portland. And I think Carson was on it.
Your brother, Carson.
Yeah. And just a few other local artists, and they sang her songs, the rest of her songs that we didn't have a vocal
for. It makes me want to cry
for.
just hearing that story.
As it falls down on my face, I feel brand new.
Oh, it was an emotional project altogether. But it was a sold-out show at the Showbox Market, and it was just a really, I'm just glad that, we could finish that,
I love the rain. What's the gripe about? Imagine life without precious gift of rain. It would not be the same.
Was it a recording too?
Yeah, we made a whole album with her songs and the songs that the local artist sang of hers, and it's called Love the Skin You're In, and that the Showbox show was her release show.
Makeup-free, freckle face, and messy hair all serene. Original style and grace, like you've never seen. Confidence is at the base of this beauty that's inside. Even her chipped tooth has a place, and there's nothing to hide. She's a real girl with all the flaws. She's a real girl, but she's happy because she loves the skin she's in. Love the skin you're in.
When did you start becoming and making music a profession?
I started writing, and I recorded my first album in my freshman and sophomore year at the University of Washington. And then once I finished the album, I started playing gigs and shows around Seattle. Pretty much once I got to UW is when I kind of started to take it on a little more seriously. And then once I graduated, that's when I really could dedicate full time to it.
Make it simple so that I can put it on repeat. And when I hear your song, I'll be singing along. So don't worry, 'cause it will be you and
At one point, my brother Carson, and then our sister and my cousin Carly, and then our other cousin Carly's brother, within 5 years, had all been going to UW together at one point or another.
Oh, wow. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
so that was fun. Yeah.
So all of you were musical.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of grew up. My mom got us started early, and my dad loves music. He doesn't play or sing or anything, but he's always playing something new and finding some new music. And so, yeah, it's just kind of been a part of our lives.
your melody. Make it simple so that I can put it on repeat. And when I hear your song, I'll be singing along. So don't worry, 'cause it will be you and me. He told me to be
What then
just
inspired you
me.
to go with the soul and the R&B style?
Well, I listened to a lot of different music growing up, and between my mom and my dad, just playing rock, soul, Motown singer-songwriters, I just kind of gravitated towards the soul. I don't know why, it's just something that really moved me, and so I started listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder and Jackson 5 and Marvin Gaye and all the soul greats, Aretha Franklin, and then I kind of got into neo-soul, R&B, like in 6th grade, 7th grade, and on through high school.
That's pretty young.
Yeah, I think it was around 6th grade that Sister Act 2 came out, and that was with Lauryn Hill. I love gospel music too, and that movie is still one of my favorites to date. But I love the music, and I really had gotten into India Ari at that time, and Brian McKnight, and more of the R&B neo-soul side of things.
Every night we'll be together. With a roof right over our heads, we'll share the shelter of my single bed. We'll share the same room. I provide the bread. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling?
Wow. Now, growing up, you started on Suzuki, and I saw some of the video on your site, tesshenley.com. There's a great video, which really sums up your life pretty darn good. I mean, your life at this point. But part of it, in it, you were playing a little Gershwin, and it looks as if you were trained classically pretty darn well before you went you branched off in the 6th grade to the soul and R&B side.
My mom had us start taking lessons from the same teacher we had, up until my senior year of high school.
I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together with a roof right over our heads. We'll share the shelter of my single bed. We'll share the same room. I provide the bread.
We'd go every week, and then my mom would make us practice every day before school, and we'd have monthly recitals, and then we went through all the Suzuki books, starting from book 1 and then on, and I played classical music all through high school, but I started playing and singing more like pop songs and songs that I wanted to play in 1st or 2nd grade. I started doing the school talent shows. And that's kind of when I started opening the other side, like opening the playing and singing and playing pop contemporary songs.
So I throw my cards on your table. Ooh, I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together.
Well, do you think that your experience starting so young with Suzuki, being 3-year-old pianist, and all your recitals and your talent shows and everything, do you think that helped you not have to really suffer stage fright as much as some people do? Because I've talked to a lot of performers who had almost ended their career.
I still suffer from stage fright, and Suzuki and classical music and those recitals is such a different. It's very mechanical, and there's no real you don't have to talk. You just bow, sit down, play the song. You don't have to look at anybody. So once I started playing talent shows and that kind of stuff, that's when I had to realize, okay, I need to entertain a little more now. That's when the stage fright kicked in. but I've definitely grown quite a bit from then.
Well, how did you overcome it? I'm always fascinated by musicians who overcome it because I'm a pianist and I've always had stage fright. You don't really grow out of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad to say. But Barbara Streisand.
Oh yeah.
She had it really bad, and she stopped performing live for like 3 decades. So and look at her. So it can strike anyone. But how did you overcome it?
Well, I feel for Barbara Streisand because I still, I really do get bad. It's just, it depends on the weather, really, if I'm going to get nervous or not. But I think the key is once I started playing a lot of shows and just it became a regular thing, that's when I got more comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. But if I take a break, for Carly's album, we took kind of a hiatus, and then coming back to perform, once you take a break, it just kind of throws you off a little,
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, so you just have to keep playing and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Mm-hmm.
The other night, I was actually in LA with Carson last week, and there was a jam session going on at this place in Venice Beach, and the band was so good, just top of the line musicians. And Carson had met the lead singer, and he came up to us during a break, and Carson kind of threw me into the fire, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you should get her up and sing."
Mm-hmm.
And that's just oh yeah. That's just one of those things where, I knew I couldn't say no because I have to force myself to do those kind of things to become more comfortable with it.
Well, let's introduce a song from one of your older albums. I have, from Appetizer, I have Boy in the Window. And that was also the one that they mentioned in IMR Magazine last year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and the article in IMR Magazine?
Okay, yeah, I wrote that song when I was going to UW, and I was living in an apartment building, and I lived next door to another complex. I actually wrote it about a guy who I lived across from, and so from my bedroom window, I could see his bedroom window in the other complex.
So this is a real live story here.
Yes, and it was just one of those things where I could see into his room, and the buildings were close enough together where it was kind of awkward at times, and we both knew each other was there, but we didn't want to make eye contact, and so I ended up writing the song kind of inspired by him, and thinking, what if you were in this type of situation and you could see the things in his room and you thought, oh, we have a lot in common, is there a love connection? And but we need to get to hello. We need to, get past these windows, these barriers here.
All right, well, let's play a little bit of it. This is Boy in the Window from the album Appetizer.
We've got the same taste in music, eclectic Hall of Fame on your wall. Stevie Prince, Bob Marley, Jay Taylor, Mark Side in the eye like a mole. I can see your favorite color.
Okay, that was the song Boy in the Window from Tess Henley's album Appetizer. So, Tess, was he a handsome guy?
Well, I wasn't close enough to see his face, but I could see his body. When he would come out of the shower with a towel on and his blinds up. So he did have a nice body.
Well, he was a little bit of an exhibitionist, wasn't he?
Yes, I think he did it on purpose.
I think so too. I'm sure he saw you and was trying to make a love connection there.
Yeah.
Well,
and he'll never know that this song was written about him.
Well, I don't know unless he listens to this. You never know what people know about you. You never know. So tell me a little bit about what's going on right now with this new album. It's going to be, when's it going to be released? High Heels and
It's
Sneakers.
releasing Yeah, it releases May 7th. And I've been recording for the past 2 years, pretty much, in Philadelphia with Dice Raw from The Roots and his kind of team of musicians and producers, and one being Kari Mateen, who's worked with The Roots, and Jill Scott, and a lot of other great artists. And it's a full-length album, 14 tracks. It's really different, I think, from my first couple releases, in that it's all organic, all real instruments, real horns, real strings, and it's just kind of got a different vibe to it.
It does. I like that. By organic, you mean no synthesized instruments, that kind of thing. It's all no electronic instruments. It's all, you said, like clapping, stomping, breathing. It's the body, it's for percussion, and the voice.
Yeah, I think we used some glass bottles at one point for percussion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool, and the musicians were crazy talented. In fact, they're one of the guitarists that played on the album, and he's toured with Music Soul Child and a bunch of people, but he was from Spokane.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a small world. It's a small world.
Yeah.
Well, what inspired you to do it organically like that?
It wasn't part of my plan from the start. I just kind of, when I went out to Philly to do some demos to see if, if it was something that I was into or I was feeling, we did a couple songs, and I just really liked how everything went. That's when I decided that I wanted to record the full length over there. And then when I got out there, it just kind of happened that way. I mean, we tracked bass, drums, guitar, and keys, and then added the percussion, and I think just everyone there, all the musicians, it just was it was their style. They're just real musicians, and it's almost like we didn't need anything. We didn't need to add any synth or that kind of stuff.
I think
because they were, it was really cool. And real horns, real strings always feels good. So,
well, let's play. Can you introduce the song Daydreaming off of it? Let's play a song from it.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first single off the album. Actually wasn't supposed to be on the album until I wrote it as a single, and then we added it to the album after the fact. But this is Daydreaming.
Ooh, like what it feels to be in love. Picturing you and me, hopping aboard to a tropic retreat. Baby, that sounds good to me. Baby, that sounds good to me. What good is this place?
Okay, that was Daydreaming off the soon-to-be released High Heels and Sneakers by Tess Henley. So what was it like working with Dice?
It was great. He's a very cool guy, and he just made sure everything was there. All the musicians were taken care of, and he brought in the right people. He connected me to Kari Mateen, who is super talented and poured his heart into the album, and that's what I really want when I'm working with somebody, is that they believe in it, and Dice believes in it, and it was fun.
And once again, I slip away. What good is this place if it doesn't exist? Who knows? But every now and then I get stuck inside my head. Hoping worlds collide like summer's sweetest bliss. It's dreaming, ain't nothing but daydreaming.
Now, I read that you were working with Andrew Joslin on a piece, and he is, I consider Andrew Joslin to be like Seattle's real musical genius over there. He has so many different styles, and he's with Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, and he has the Passenger String Quartet, and quite a few other things. Chris Orlowski's album, he was on that, and his own albums. Are you doing something with him too?
Well, I did do my Christmas song I retracked it, Christmas Won't Do Without You, and he rearranged the strings to it. And then we shot the video with the Passenger String Quartet.
Cotton candy clouds in mid-December. Snowflakes kiss the ground ever so tender. Crowded coffee stands, lovers holding hands, lights in the park, join the stars in a dance. Miles from what I know, couples with little ones in tow, longing for my own sweet Santa home. Between noon and the moon, around the corner, so Christmas.
And I hope to do something again with him in the future because he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a genius, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything
Yeah.
going on in Seattle is just amazing. The musical scene, you've compared it to the soul scene is like the grunge scene that happened in the 90s over in Seattle. What do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I really think that in the past, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 years, there's been just a lot of great talent coming out of Seattle. I mean, not just soul, but if you're, talk about Macklemore, and a lot of successful artists are coming out of Seattle. And I think it's just a matter of time before more and more people start to realize that it is kind of a hot spot. But I think that soul, there's a lot of great soul artists coming out of Seattle, especially. And then, looking at Alan Carson, you have kind of more of the soul rock, like Hot Bodies in Motion. Chocolate is another soul R&B singer from Seattle who's doing pretty well right now. Yeah, it's really cool to see, and everyone's kind of coming together and supporting each other.
That's what's
and,
cool. Yeah, helping each other out. I think the Seattle music scene, from everybody we've talked to, they just seem so connected, and so willing to help each other get a leg up instead of being so competitive with each other.
Yeah, it's a very tight-knit community
That's
of
awesome.
artists.
Mm-hmm.
And not just, musicians, but even artists, design artists, and, we're all kind of working with the same group of people, and it's really cool to kind of support each other on that.
Very cool. Well, so you were in IMR magazine, and mentioned that you were from Seattle, Washington. You were in there with a lot of other independent musicians, and they were from all over the world. So how did you feel about that, and how did that work out for you?
That was a really cool honor, and I always liked being able to, there was an interview that went along with that, and it's always nice to kind of share my story with a publication like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an honor.
Yeah, that was cool. So that was last year, 2012. And then you've also won this big contest of Budweiser MySpace contest. I'm not sure how recently that was, but you won $25,000, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lifesaver. It really was. That was in 2011, I believe.
Oh, okay. That was before the IMR deal. Okay.
Yeah, that was right before I started recording my album. That was the weirdest thing because I've never really seen a competition that's really geared towards soul music. And I remember the 2 audition songs that you could choose from were Shaka Khan's Sweet Thing or Brian McKnight's One Last Cry. And I knew the songs already. I played them on piano for a while, and so it was perfect. And then the winner opened for Jill Scott and Anthony Hamilton. So it was just an amazing experience. I've made a lot of good friends. I've even worked with some of the other contestants.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
just did a duet. Yeah, I just did a duet with one of the guys that was in the finals with me. Yeah, it was
Well, what did you do with all that money? How did you spend it on producing that album?
Yeah, it was actually a total of $30,000 because the semifinals, they gave $5,000 to each semifinal winner.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that money and then some went to recording my album.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And which album was that?
This upcoming one.
This one?
Yeah.
Heels and Sneakers? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't have,
That's awesome.
up until that point, I didn't have the money to record the album in Philly, even though I was, I'd signed the agreement with Dice and I was on board to start recording a month later. But I really didn't have the money. My parents were going to take out the line of credit on the house.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they love you. They believe in you.
Oh, yeah. That was saving grace for all of us.
That's amazing. That's very sweet of them to even have thought about doing that.
So, yeah.
Do you consider yourself still then an independent? Are you 100% independent still?
Yeah, I am. I do have distribution, and I have a team of people, definitely. I think no matter what, if you're independent, you need a team. Mm-hmm. But as far as labels or agents go, it is strictly independent.
Well, do you think you're going to want to stay that way? Do you like your independence?
Yeah, I really do. It's always, nowadays, the labels aren't offering the best deals, and you end up sacrificing a lot of your rights and royalties. And in fact, I did have a label showcase in January, and I was kind of in the midst of a deal and ended up opting out of it. But if you can gain more bargaining power as an independent artist, and a prime example is Macklemore, who he doesn't need a label now, and he's making way more money, and he can do what he wants. It's just the perfect situation when you really look at it, because you have all the control, all the creative control you want. And so it's not the easiest road, as you can see. I mean, he's been doing this for 10 plus years, I think. But it's the little victories that kind of keep you going.
Well, can you introduce another song from the album? I'm thinking From the Get-Go. All these songs the ones I've heard so far, feel really good. They make you want to get up and dance. And is that the kind of music you're looking for?
Yeah, I think, the reason I kind of called the album High Heels and Sneakers is because it's kind of a mix of fun, upbeat songs and then a little more serious kind of spotlight, emotional songs. So From the Get-Go and Daydreaming are definitely in that kind of upbeat side of things.
So did you write the song From the Get-Go? Is it yours?
Yeah. I did a couple co-writes on that album, but pretty much wrote most of them
Good for
myself.
You. That's awesome. Well, let's play a little bit From the Get-Go off of the soon-to-be released album High Heels and Sneakers by Tess Henley.
You say, honey, sweet baby, you got it down like a bad girl in the floor. And you say, honey, lovely lady, oh, you make it sound like you've done this here before. Well, I got to admit, I was a little bit curious. My premonition proved
with the new release? Are you going to be touring with it?
That's the hope. I've been in touch with some agents, booking agents, to talk about that. I work with Tower Records Japan, and I've done well in selling in Japan. So that is definitely an option for touring. Yeah, I guess that's probably the biggest thing on the agenda is once the release happens, just to get out on the road and just play.
That alone is enough to sniff you out. You don't bother asking what I'm thinking. No, now that alone is enough to talk about. Well, I got to admit, I was a little bit
indie music on this show, and I try to find the women artists, and they're more difficult to find because there's way more male indie artists than there are female for some reason. Do you notice that too?
Yeah, I'm not even sure why though.
I have arguments about this all the time, trying to figure out why. But with people who I talk to, we will discuss one side or the other, and I don't know for sure. I know over in Seattle they have Rain City Rock Camp for girls.
Oh yeah,
and in fact, we're going to do a show on that coming up here. But I love what they're doing because it just seems to me like I have a son who is very musical, and when he was really young, he put together a band. I was musical when I was young. I didn't put together a garage band. It just seems to me boys do that more often than girls do.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the cool thing to do for guys.
And girls just don't think about it. I don't know. But I'm going to ask that question when we get the Rain City Rock Camp gals on. But what they do, getting girls to play together and sing together and really belt out songs and be loud, I just think it's awesome. You know what? Rain City was actually a part of Carly's CD release show. We ended up donating because we did a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for the recording of Carly's CD, and we exceeded the amount that we first set, and we donated the rest of the money to the Rain City Rock Camp. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That is awesome. I wish I could have gone to Rain City Rock Camp when I was a kid. Such a thing didn't exist when I was growing up.
Yeah, and I think it's just great that they're not only getting girls involved with music, but just building confidence in young girls.
Why can't she see? She's all in more, all in more. If only she could see the truth, she could see the beauty of her youth. She doesn't know about true love, no. Being worthy, she'd always fall short of. Her reflection holds no inspiration, not even hope to try. Her life just made her wanna cry. If she looked like them, maybe.
Well, Tess, you have a great day, and enjoy the release of your new CD. I'm looking forward to hearing all of the songs off of High Heels and Sneakers coming out May 7th. Again, go to TessHenley.com, find out more about Tess. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
You said